Welcome into the Patriot Broadcasting Project. I'm your host, Bubba Startz, and with me today, Colonel Daniel Gomez. Colonel, welcome
Hey,
to the
Bubba.
show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Great to be here, and look forward to spending some time with you here.
Yeah, well, and we got some really cool stuff to cover. I know that you've recently developed with your wife the series of books, The Adventures of a Military Brat. Absolutely love that. And everyone who knows us knows how much we support our veteran community with Operation Combating Veteran Suicide. Before we get into the chat, though, love to give you an opportunity here. Give us a little bit of your backstory, and then we'll pick it up from there.
Oh, yeah, sure. So I'm an Army guy. I've been in the Army going on 23 years now. I've served overseas. I went to Iraq twice. I joined Special Operations. I've visited many different countries all across the world in the service of our country, and had a real blast doing it. I've been in the Army. I was active duty for 13 years and then switched to the reserve. And I've just valued every single second I've spent in the military and in the service of our country. And along that way, my wife has been there every step of the way. Her name's Joanna, and she's been along for the ride, and decided to become a therapist and help give counseling to children and military families. And that's how we ended up here, right? She designed a book series, and that's what brought me here. So that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, well, and I appreciate what you've done, and obviously all the kudos in the world to your wife and your children. We often forget those, especially outside of the military, who have never lived that experience, that the whole family serves, and it's not an easy thing to ask a wife and small children to stay home, and regardless of how you feel as a soldier about going out and serving your country, it's not always easy. And a lot of those, those feelings and then coming home, a changed man as well, or woman, for those, are females in the service coming home to their families, can be very difficult. And I think what gets overlooked, and what you guys have done such a great job of bringing out now, is the story from the ones at home, and especially of the children, and now giving these children, the military brats of the world, an opportunity to see themselves on the page, and to understand that they're not the only ones who are going through that experience. It can be very isolating for small children that don't understand the larger concepts of defending one's country and freedoms. They just know that daddy's gone or mommy's gone, and we're praying that they come back.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really challenging. Military families are blessed, and they're also cursed in many ways, right? They get to experience all these different places, meeting different people, doing different things that are very unique to the military outside of civilian culture. But then we have the stuff that comes along with it. Parents being gone for long periods of time, war, and things of that nature. And that's why we created this book series, right? To help kids bring something that they experience every day to life with a book, right? My wife always said that she uses books like the Bernstein Bears and other children's books to help kids through different issues, like having bad dreams, behaving, eating right. Those are all books that the Bernstein Bears have covered very successfully. But guess what? Papa Bear doesn't need to PCS. Papa Bear doesn't need to deploy to Iraq, right? Those are very unique military issues. So she said, I'll look for something like that to share with these children. And she couldn't find any. So she decided to make her own. And that's where this whole book series came to life, right? We show kids the stuff that they do every day, and we turn it alive in these illustrations and these picture books. And they absolutely love it. They're very, they see themselves in the book, right? They're like, who's been to the PX? Who's who's heard the bugle call, right? Who's heard the cannon fire? Who salutes the flag? Whose house is covered in military gear and PT clothes, right? All the kids appreciate that. And when we ask them questions and we read to them, they all throw their hands up. Oh, that's me. That's my dad. Oh, and that's my mom. And they're very appreciative. So we think it's been a success so far.
And it's filling such a need inside of our culture and in our military veteran communities to see that, in this day and age, we talk about inclusion and representation and all of these, and it's still very hard for us to see all the areas that we don't and to think. So I think that you both are shining that light in there, and so grateful for your wife to have this idea, but not just to have the idea, but to bring it to fruition. It's not easy to write a book and to publish a book. I don't know if you guys had it published or if you self-published it, but it's not. Either way, it's a process, and it can be very grueling to get through and to have someone else maybe believe in that vision, or, to have to go and fund it yourself to get those things out there. But ultimately knowing that what you're doing is needed and is going to have an impact on the world around you. And I just think that, your wife deserves so much credit in the world for the impact that hopefully these books have for generations.
Yeah. We really appreciate that. It is a challenge. Everything you said was perfect. How do we publish it? How do we create it? How do we draw it? How do we, all that stuff? It's trials and tribulations, let me tell you. So for anyone thinking the same thing, that they could publish a book, you can absolutely do it yourself. If you believe in yourself and you stick to it, you can make it happen and bring it to life. But we all know why we create books, right? To get rich. No, absolutely not, right? That's not why we do it, right? We do it because we want to help other kids and share our story with them and make them feel good about themselves. So you do have to invest a lot of money and time to make this happen. And that's what we did, So anybody who's willing to do the same thing, you got to believe in yourself and you can make it happen. Let me know if you have any questions. You could call me after this or anything like that. But you have to know why you're doing it, right? If you're doing it to get rich, you're doing the wrong thing. We do it for the kids, right? We do it so that they can experience joy in their life, and other things like that. My wife designed these books for educators and caregivers to share with the children to help them build positive relationships. Let me just share with that, right? So in the back here, this is our PCS book. It's called The Big Move, right? Where it shares tips on, through a great story about a little girl who's PCSing, it shares some tips on how to do it in a healthy way, right? How to hold on to your memories while accepting new stuff and saying goodbye to the old stuff, right? But in the back here, we have these author notes that explain how you can use these books to help guide the kids through that journey, right? So that's very key in that, you're not just reading the book to the kids. You can use this as a tool to help them, right? And get build their resilience to these challenging situations. Moving, right? Most kids move once, twice, maybe 3 times in their life. Military kids will move 5 or 6 times before they hit the age 10, right? That's crazy. That's nowhere even close to normal families, civilian families, right? So this is why the military family is different. We create these things to help them along that way. And we stuck through it, and we published these books so that we can get these and share these stories with those caregivers.
Well, and I think that the avenue of having them with the educators who don't often know, my wife works in education now and working in the school, but she's never had a military background. Her father wasn't in the military. So it's a wholly unknown subject to her. And how do you guide a young child who's going through that, through those situations without something to rely on, right? Without a resource to turn to. And like you said, that your wife was looking for them. And when you found none, that's when the book became, I would say, a necessity for you to get out, seeing that there was a need for something. I don't feel like it's in your character, Colonel, to just see something that needs to be done and to look the other way and to forget about it. It was never going to happen. And I think that it's just as valuable to the friends of those military brats and these other people that are outside that also don't understand why their friend is having to move away as well. And maybe it can help a lot more than just, the kids in these military families, but also everyone around that family. It's very hard, letting go of friends, even as an adult. And now we're more connected now than we've ever been through, social media, and technology has made things a lot easier to keep in touch. It's still a great big move. And especially for, kids under 10 years old to pick up and uproot their entire life and routine to have to go build new again. And as someone who around that age, 10, 11 years old, moved from, suburban Chicago to the middle of the woods in South Dakota, I understand that moving, that was the one big move of our life. I can't imagine having to do that 5 times. Oh, and also, your mom or dad are going off to war, or they're outside of the home for a period of time, regardless. So it's so great to know that we have these resources now available. We have the website scrolling around the bottom here, and absolutely incredible work that you guys are doing.
Yeah. I mean, we wrote these books off of the experiences that our children had, right? I have 2 kids of my own, and we brought their experiences to life in this book, because their experience is just like every other military child, right? Their dad has all the junk around the house. They have to go to organization day and they have some fun. They get to sit in a helicopter, right? But they're very unique things. So one of the things that I love, I hope I don't cry, but in like the big move, when we were moving our first time, our son took some bubble wands and left it for the new family because he wants them to have fun too, right? And that's what we put in this book. And it's stuff like that, sharing these experiences, having the little kids not only think of themselves, think of other people and they're moving too, how they can have a better reunion as well, really helps out. So that's just one of the many, many stories that we share. I didn't get to talk about this book yet. This is our latest book. This is Gold Star Child. It was so difficult to write, and the things that our military does is a very dangerous job, right? And it comes with challenges and loss. Every day soldiers are we're not just talking about war, right? There's war, soldiers get injured or killed in war, but there's so much more than that. We have soldiers dying in helicopter accidents, traffic accidents. We have soldiers that commit suicide, unfortunately, right? We have soldiers that are gravely injured. All those are very extreme challenges for military families, and they're unique to the military. So we created this book to help the kids in these situations, to help them understand what they're feeling and how to deal with that, right? They go through so many emotions. The parent, the mom, the dad goes through so many emotions, and we use this as a guidebook to help them understand those emotions and why they're feeling that way, and that it's okay, and that you're not just feeling bad about it. You could continue your life knowing that they would want you to continue your life in a positive and healthy way, right? So we designed this story around that, about a child who goes to a Gold Star camp with other kids who's lost a loved one in each very unique ways that I mentioned before, and they all help each other through that, right? Really challenging book to write, really challenging book to read, extremely important for if you know a Gold Star kid, you can use this to help them grieve with it. There's other books out there that deal with children and loss, but they didn't die in war. They didn't die. They didn't pass away flying a helicopter, right? And things of that nature. This addresses things of those natures, and it can hopefully help this kid understand it in a better way. So that's just one. I just wanted to highlight that.
No, and I appreciate you doing so. I don't think that there could ever be enough literature around those topics, and especially in the children's space, to deal with that, because those are those are the things that happen to a child who didn't sign up for that, right? And I think something that we overlook is that while the enlisted have made the commitment on their side to do those, their children did not sign up for that life. And it's very hard to deal with things that are happening to you, that you didn't necessarily volunteer to do, right? And as a child, that's most of it. I think as parents, we're desperately trying to just not screw our kids up, right? But some of those are out of our control. And especially for military families, there's a lot of your life that is out of your control, and accidents happen. It's not just in war, and having all of those different situations represented, I think is a real kudos to you and your wife in writing that, to make sure that all these different children are represented and can see themselves in this book, and understand that they are not as, I don't want to say unique, but they're not as alone as they feel in the moment. Right. That there are other kids that are out there that feel like them, and maybe they can learn how to be a blessing to others, no different than your son leaving his bubble wand for the next family that are moving in, because eventually that family is going to go through the same thing. And I think about that moment and how that changed that next family's life. And I hope it was a family that moved into that house, and their child was impacted by that enough to leave something of theirs, maybe not a bubble one, but something for that next. And the way that it's, you hear the, kind of equated in, you hold the door open for a person and then they hold it, right? Like the impact that you can have just in a day-to-day, those small things that may happen in the course of our life that may have a profound impact on the others around us, and the impact that these books are going to have on there. Now, I saw you had 3 in the series so far.
Yes.
3. Now, are you guys writing more? Are there plans for more?
Yes, we absolutely want to write some more. We definitely want to hit the military holidays. We want to hit deployment, like preparing children for someone to be gone a long time. Like in the Army, it's very different. You go for a month, maybe you go for 6 months, and if it's big war, you go for a year. But the Navy, they go for months at a time as well, normal war or not, right? And their kids have to deal with that as well. So these books are written so that we could encompass all the military into it. But we want to do deploying. We want to do changing schools. We want to do the holidays. We're still working on those. Everyone is. It takes a while to go through the whole thing, and all the processes changes along the way, right? But we learn and we keep moving, right? But we definitely want to add more, because we believe there's so much more that we can help address for these children.
Well, I think it's absolutely incredible what you're doing for the military community and what you're doing for these kids. It's absolutely needed. And I'm glad that you guys took the, that you took the gumption and really got after it to do it, because it's not easy, and nobody's getting rich selling books or especially something as niche as these are. But you are impacting the lives of these children in a positive manner, and I just want to really commend you for that. You're probably not going to get any medals for this from your service, but
I'll tell you what my medal is. I get messages from our friends who've purchased the book, and when they move, they sent us pictures of their box, right? Everyone knows, if you're in the military, you know that the movers are going to do what? They're going to break or lose all your stuff, right? That's a fact. So the movers are going to tag stuff with little stickers, and you may or may not see it again. But here's the thing. You need to have a special box with your most important stuff, because if you have that, it won't get lost. You get to keep that with you, right? So what happens is my friends send us pictures of her kids with their special boxes when they moved, right? And that's already happened 4 or 5 times so far. And it's just like, oh, you know, my wife cries, I get all misty-eyed, right? Because it's working. It's working, right? It's working. That's what happens. And you know, I know that these things happen because I've been there, right? Really, just another fun thing. I'm gonna give you a spoiler for this one. And this book is that she gets to the new place, meets the new kid, and guess what? Her dad already knows the neighbors because they worked together before. That happens every single place you go, right? And that happened to one of my friends as well. They moved in, they didn't know who's there, they're going on base. Boom, the people they've known their whole lives right next door. And you know, you're not just saying goodbye to friends, you're meeting new ones. You still have your old friends, right? They didn't go away. But now you get to meet more friends in more places. That's just one of the how we turn where is it? Unique challenges into positive messages, right? That's why we do these things.
Absolutely beautiful. Colonel, I appreciate you spending some time with me today. I know you're a busy man. Once again, a huge shout out and a big thank you to your wife and you for what you've done with these books and what you will continue to do to support those families and so many families that you may never meet, that you're going to be impacting the lives of their little ones. And I think that's just absolutely incredible. So I appreciate you taking some time for us today on the Patriot Broadcasting Project. And thank you for being part of the scene.
Thanks, Bubba. We really appreciate it. And thanks for everybody for listening. If you have any questions on book stuff, you can hit me up on LinkedIn. And then if you want to check out our books and support us or know anybody who needs them, you can visit our website at adventuresofthemilitarybrat.com. Thanks so much, Bubba.